Atlanta as we get ready for our next pair of funny car competitors. We're looking at Gordy Bonham, who'll be facing Cruz Pedregon. I'm Gary Gerald, along with longtime NHRA broadcaster Steve Evans and former driver and drag school racing operator Frank Hawley, who's ready now to recap our third category we're following today.
One of the exciting things about NHRA Pro Stock racing is the incredibly close competition, often with wins and losses being determined by a thousandth of a second. With close competition like that, sometimes you see an upset. For example, Scott Jeffreyon, second in points last year, was defeated by Mark Osborne, who had a near-perfect reaction time to the starting lights. For Osborne, who's been struggling, it was a great performance under pressure.
You were up for the game, a 4.03 light.
Yeah, I know I had to come up with something to beat Scott Jeffrey and them Dodge boys. They're tough.
Now, Jeffreyon's teammate, Darrell Alderman, who was leading the points chase, had been struggling all weekend until he ran a 7.05 second run to beat Mark Pollock in the second round. Alderman attributed his increase in performance to a mechanical change made just prior to that race.
We got longer wheelie bars on it, and it was going to the right real bad with me, and I was out of the groove all the way down through there, and they adjusted on it this last round. It's running better.
So the final four has Darrell Alderman facing Warren Johnson, with Johnson having the lane choice, while on the other side of the ladder, Mark Osborne will face Jim Yates.
And we'll be seeing the final four in action in a few moments. Right now, it's back to funny car competition. We're looking at the Pontiac Firebird of Cruz Pedregon.
Cruz qualified only number 3, but his 5.10 in the first round, low elapsed time of the event. He looms as a favorite. Gordy Bonham, you got to watch this guy. He is so talented behind the wheel. No matter what the car does, he is capable of winning. He proved that 2 times last year, winning, in my opinion, on driver ability alone. Pedregon with a lane choice. No surprise, he takes the near side.
Well, 3 years ago, Pedregon, as a rookie in funny car competition, won the Winston Championship driving an Olds Cutlass. Now he's in the Pontiac Firebird in the near lane. And a good battle, and look at this for Pedregon, a 5.11 at better than 294 miles per hour as he advances now to the semifinal round. So our final pairing in funny car will involve Chuck Etchells, the 40-year-old Connecticut driver and the Dodge Avenger, going up against the Castrol Pontiac Firebird of John Force, who's won 3 straight times in Atlanta. Steve?
Team Gibbs is having a great day. That 5.11 will give you lane choice over Spurlock next round.
Well, that's great. I tell you what, I'm now starting to notice this Pontiac body. It flat plants out there. We did some work to it a few days ago, actually right after Rockingham, and it's working out there. It's not spinning the tires, but we're trying to keep it consistent.
Great job.
Satisfaction indeed for Cruz Pedregon and his crew as we go on board now with Chuck Etchells. Etchells, who was a runner-up to Pedregon on the season opener at Pomona, the first man ever to get into the 4-second bracket in funny cars. A couple of years ago, John Force thought he'd be the man. Etchells beat him to it.
And John Force is still a little possessed by that, and every chance he gets, he loves to just pummel Chuck Etchells just for old time's sake. On board with John Force, Chuck Etchells, Gary, qualified number 8 at a 5.28 with a speed of only 268 miles an hour. That tells you there's more. Round 1 at 5.13. Great run, put Jim Epler away. The only way to describe how popular the number 1 qualifier is, John Force, is that when he drives through the pit gate, it's like Elvis has arrived. The fans surround his car, follow it all the way to the trailer. Some of them never watch the race. They just stay at the trailer hoping to get a glimpse or an autograph from John Force. It's amazing.
And we saw veteran crew chief Austin Coyle, been with Force for 11 years, getting him positioned now for this run. You can see Force pulling away, and look at the speed. 301 miles per hour for John Force as he sidelines Etchells. The 10th time in the amazing career of John Force that he has now gone better than 300 miles per hour. And look at the power off the line. Etchells trying to hang with him, but the advantage clearly to Force. And here's what a 300-mile-per-hour run looks like at the finish line. As Force now advances, he'll go against Gary Clapshaw. Force, of course, has lane choice of 5.10 to a 5.29. And the other pairing has Pedregon against Spurlock. Pedregon with lane choice. And his owner has now arrived and is with Steve.
Well, Gary, he made it by the grace of God in the Georgia Highway Patrol. Coach Gibbs, this is a wonderful feeling. 3 cars in the semifinals.
We're just thrilled. I tell you, I got back here and everybody said, okay, it's your job from here on, the semis and the finals. They give me the tough part. They'll hold that against me if we lose. But, hey, the McDonald's teams are doing great. It's a thrill to get back here. It's fun being in the semis.
I guess this is, what, 3rd and short?
Yeah, that's the way it is. We can't punt.
Gary?
He may be forced into a punting situation if indeed has to face John Force in the finals. The Fram Southern Nationals Pro Stock semifinals next after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Just kidding.
Semifinal action in Pro Stock, and here's a delighted man behind the wheel of this Oldsmobile Cutlass. Mark Osborne had missed the last 3 events, had not qualified. He goes now against the Pontiac Firebird of Jim Yates. The season standings, Team Mopar, Alderman and Jeffreyon, they have dominated the season. A big lead for Alderman when you consider that you can take about 110 maximum from one weekend. You can see how strong a season he's had in the first 4 events.
Unlike the nitro cars that leave the starting line from a dead idle, the Pro Stockers raise the RPMs to the moon.
And a red light for Yates. And I don't think Yates even realized that he red lighted. He continues the full run. Osborne advances with a 7:13, but Yates has wasted a 7:09. He missed the green by 6/1000ths of a second. Our next pair in the burnout, Darrell Alderman in the Dodge going against Warren Johnson on the near side in the Olds Cutlass. Meanwhile, at the other end of the track, Steve is now with Mark Osborne.
There are times a Pro Stock driver doesn't know he's won when the other guy red lighted. How about you, Mark?
No, I didn't know it. The car made a move to the left, and I really thought I was in trouble. Then I looked up when I was hitting high gear and seen the wind light.
So Osborne now finds himself in the finals. We look at the other semifinal pairing at Darrell Alderman. What a year he's enjoying as the defending series champion. He's won 3 of the 4 events already this season. He goes against longtime rival Warren Johnson.
Often Pro Stock drivers will play a game, try to force the other man to stage first. They're sitting there a long time. Who's going to break? Alderman in. Johnson taking his time. He's in. Alderman far lane and near perfect reaction time and a huge lead. Warren closes with a quicker elapsed time of 7:02, but Alderman, due to his cat-like start, goes to the final with a 7:06.
Well, they say reaction time is the key to success in this sport, and here is a classic example. Look at the launch on the far side by Alderman as he gets out quickly on Johnson. Johnson comes back hard, in fact, runs a higher speed, but it's not going to be good enough to put him in the finals. On board now with Alderman. Here's the look at the line. And you can see the lead. Can he hang on? He does. And Alderman holds off a fast-closing Johnson thanks to that terrific start. So Alderman will advance to face Mark Osborne, and Alderman is now with Steve.
Folks, you are looking at the difference in why this Dodge is in the final. A 7:06 beat an 02.
You know, I thought that I got out on him a little bit there. I knew I was going to have to do my job at the start line because he's been running so good, and Warren's really been driving good here today, too.
Got a tough headwind. That bother you at all?
Well, I didn't really notice it, no. The only winds we notice is the side winds.
Darrell Alderman going to the final.
So the season points leaders on a fast track at Atlanta. Plenty car semifinals coming up in a moment.